When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you in the championship rounds with King Amin of Essex, and I'm here with my tribe. I've been made honorary. I'm an honorary nerd. I'm here with my guy, Brian Mabry of Nerdyboxing Gym in Fredericksburg. Um, Let the people know we got a new addition to the Nerdy Boxing branch, if you will, Nerdy Boxing Apparel. I want you to give out all that information on socials.
Yes, sir. The owner of our gym, he owns the building. His name is we call him Junior. Um, I think his Instagram is Dynamic Detailers Junior Hill, and he also has his wife Tiffany Hill, Tiff Hill. If you go through my Instagram, you have connections to all of them. But we have the hoodies, the T-shirts, our little nerdy logos and sayings, and all generated through those guys.
Absolutely. And yeah, man, I love what you guys are always.
We got to get you one too.
No, for sure. Listen, I'm gonna get me one. Trust me. It's gonna be on before the next time you see. Trust.
Gotcha.
I'm on it. Now listen, I was saying off camera, and I wanted to get this on camera because when we talked women's boxing, we're gonna get into the other stuff, but when we talked women's boxing, you made a specific point. You said, I want to see Claressa Shields get the recognition she deserves because of your respect, appreciation for amateur pedigree and what she's done professionally. You had the chance to meet her.
Yeah, amazing lady. An amazing lady. Like,
Talk about that.
I've been around some of the best fighters in the world, and she is hands down one of the most inviting individuals in the sport that I've ever met. I mean, when we first drove past her in Detroit, we were literally just driving down the street, and Junior, one of the coaches, he sees her like going by. So we jumped out in mid-traffic, ran across the street. I know you've been in Detroit, but Detroit is cold as hell. It was like 19 degrees. She was freezing. She took pictures with us, talked to all the kids. I think like a day later, we saw her at the tournament. She took a picture with my infant. She actually took, I set my daughter beside her, and she picked her up and stopped her from crying. Like, she's hands down one of the best people that I've ever met in boxing. That I don't know that personally. So I never met the lady before, that day.
But she seemed like an amazing lady. She seemed like a first cousin.
An amazing lady. I mean, only person I could say that could even compete as far as just being like an amazing person was goddamn, now I'm on the spot. Oh man, my guy, he just retired. He lost to Spence. Porter.
Okay, yeah.
Porter, another thing. Porter literally waited while we wrangled up every nerdy boxing family and father in the event to take pictures with him. Wow. Took us like 30 minutes. So like I said, those two, hands down, two of the best people I've ever met in boxing.
That's real. That's real. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit. Nerdy was out there for nationals, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we took down 3 kids, my son, Briley Mabry. We took down a little girl, what is she, 70 pounds, Taylor Hill. We took down Enrico Williams. Briley beat my son. He beat the #1 kid the first night. 2 days later, lost to another kid, close split decision. Taylor fought an undefeated girl. Did very well, though. I think she lost a close split. And Rico had a crazy tough fight with a kid from Team Cartel, one of the best teams in the country. I hate to lose, but if you got to lose to somebody, I don't mind losing to people like that.
Iron sharp as iron.
Yeah. They all came out ranked top 10. Briley's ranked #6. Taylor's ranked #3. And Enrico should be ranked #6. So not bad. And this is all of our kids' first year competing nationally. So in their first year, they've all ranked up top 10. And we also have other kids that didn't compete in this tournament that are also on the top 10 list. So out of like 7 competitive kids, I want to say 5 of them are ranked nationally first year.
All off the muscle.
Yeah, all off the grind. So I'm proud of all of them.
No, definitely. As am I, man. And listen, I've been a fan, a supporter, and admirer from day
Definitely,
one, and I definitely want you guys to, continue to give me the updates. It's up to me to provide the updates for those that ain't already following you guys on IG.
definitely.
And let's talk a little bit of updates in boxing. We're gonna get into a little recap before we jump into the source of everything. Pause. Um,
Got you. And I
last
want
week,
real quick. I
yeah.
want to apologize. My wife got caught in traffic, so we're actually at the YMCA and not in our gym. Um, so I'm missing out on my other two coaches. So I'm missing out on Junior and I'm missing out on Mac.
Mac.
So
Yeah.
apologies.
No, definitely. But all that does is give us more opportunities because that was a great episode. Like, listen, you my guy, but them guys are stars. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I hate talking, so
so you
be
gladly hand
working.
over the reins and make a cameo. You do some ad libs every now and again, right?
Definitely.
So we don't stress you because I know you're a delicate genius. I don't want to get you talking too much. But do
I
you mind
appreciate that.
telling me a little bit about the heavyweight fight? Did you get a chance to catch the whole Joe Joyce Zhang thing?
So actually, I watch nowadays. Honestly, I watch boxing in reverse.
Sure.
Right. So I'll watch like the highlights that pop up on my Instagram or my YouTube, and then that intrigues me to watch the fight.
Mm.
So when I saw this unknown, I believe Asian, was he Asian guy?
Let me tell you a little backstory. He's originally from China. He moved to
Okay,
Bloomfield, New Jersey, which is my neck of the woods.
got you,
Homeboy was the tallest Chinese delivery food driver you would ever see.
got you.
Started training in the gyms. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
From the mud, slick ass
Mm.
southpaw. And my man, shout out to Alex Doomday Lioness. Doomy done sparred him. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
this guy from the mud.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because first I saw the eye, and I saw them stopping the fight. So I started to look at it, and amazing. But like in the heavyweight division, you always have a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I tell everybody, I don't care how much you weigh, how strong you are, how tall you are. The human head, the human, the skin, blood cells. You getting hit at 280 pounds, your body's gonna react to it the same way getting hit at 125 pounds. You getting hit by these professional heavyweights. It's like getting hit. It's like being involved in an auto accident every time they hit you. So yeah, you always have a chance in the heavyweight division. So it's hard to pick, who's the winner in the heavyweight division because of the power. So yeah, I thought it was just an amazing, and I also think it's amazing boxing because I don't want it to come off like hating because
Mhm.
it's not. But I love when top guys lose because in my opinion, when the top guys lose, it opens up more avenues for other fighters. Like if God forbid I'm rolling with Tank this week, but if
Uh-huh.
Tank loses, you can't deny Tank's ability, right? So Tank doesn't disappear. So then Tank gets other opportunities. Same thing with Ryan Garcia.
And see,
It. Go
no,
ahead. You go ahead.
I'm with you. I'm an intricacy guy like that too, because what I'm looking for is not that like you said, you don't want to see it happen, but you say to
Mm-hmm.
yourself, I know he's good enough to suffer a setback. Even if
Mm-hmm.
we want to play with them words, a loss, a setback, or whatever. But I want to see him here and the
Mm-hmm.
people around him and how he react. Because again, on the national level, the amateur, you guys got to win, lose, same day, same
Mm-hmm.
week,
Mm-hmm.
same whatever. And it seems like guys, when they get to this stage, they forget about that level of resiliency. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with Joe Joyce losing. I picked him to win. Like I
Yep.
picked against my Jersey guy. I picked against him, and I still said, "Yo, I'm okay with that," because where it goes from here is what Joe Joyce does with it, not what we say.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, when certain people lose, you can't deny their abilities. Like
Sure.
like Wilder. Wilder lost, but you can't deny what Wilder did. So Wilder will be around forever.
Absolutely.
Pacquiao lost, but you can't deny Pacquiao's abilities. Uh, what's his name? Adrian Broner lost, but you can't deny his abilities. So in my opinion, when these top guys lose, it opens up the conversation that when you lose in boxing, you're not done because you got to think. Um, these kids, like my son, he's been boxing my son's been boxing longer than he could walk almost.
Wow.
So if he gets to 25 years old and loses a fight, is his career now over? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I believe that if you invest so much time in a sport that the opportunity to fail, because no one's perfect and it's not always dependent upon you, that you should always have the opportunity to fight your way back. And I don't think that's a opportunity given to many fighters.
Definitely, man. Definitely. And so, I threw it on there, you mentioned it, Wilder, there's speculation. And Eddie Hearn said that there is, that's promoter stuff. Fury said that there wasn't, but again, the fighter don't always know. Sometimes the promoter know more than the fighter. If there was some crazy tournament where you had Usyk versus Fury and then Wilder versus AJ, and then the winner of those two bouts fight, and then that person becomes undisputed. And Wilder's got a chance. He's still got a lesser chance against Fury, but he still has the second best chance because of his power.
Yep. Everybody else is a sitting duck. And Usyk is an amazing fighter, but I believe he's just too small to compete with those bigger guys.
Yeah.
So
you can't take
skill. I mean, there's a reason we have weight classes. And I think he's tiered on the line where weight and height will overcome his skill eventually if he keeps, chasing the top.
Yeah, definitely, man. And talking about chasing the top, we mentioned Clarissa Shields. She has a sort of a homecoming bout. We know she's a Flintstone. She's a Flint Town girl. But Detroit is right in that neck of the woods. And her next fight is going to be against Hannah Gabriels. This is a rematch. We know the quote's undefeated, but Hannah Gabriels is the only one to have dropped her.
Sit her down.
So, it's just get back in a way. So, I mean, just for and having been out there and having met her, what do you think of this fight for her as far as, what you could think of the celebration, the pageantry, and what you initially said months ago, what you think she deserves? Does this type of fight and event give you some of that?
I mean, I think to me, she's like, we're not talking about a experience level or money made or anything like that, also based off her gender. But to me, she's like a Floyd Mayweather or a Manny Pacquiao, where you can't argue her stepping back and fighting people that she's already beat because she's already proven so much. I mean, if not Hannah Gabriel, then who? She starts running into a situation like a Roy Jones Jr. where Roy said, well, it's not that I'm fighting nobodies, I make them look like nobodies. So like you said, she was the only individual to sit her down. So if anyone deserves a rematch, it's her. She's given her the most rumble, in her career. So why not?
No, absolutely.
And this is these fighters' jobs. This is what people don't understand. When they talk about who they fight and when they fight, if they don't fight, they don't get paid. So you as a fan sitting home complaining about who these people fight, you're not going to pay them. Like, these fighters don't have GoFundMe's to support them when they're not fighting. So if promoters are up to setting up the event and they have the venue, then why not fight?
Absolutely. And I felt similar about Franchon Cruz-Dezurn, who, I had a lot of interactions with her as of late, had the pleasure of meeting her when she came to Newark. A similar thing. A lot of people, and me included, we wanted her to fight Shadeja Green. Shadeja Green, I call her the 50 Cent of boxing. But the reality is, fighters got to make their money, and Cruz-Dezurn has been angling for the Savannah Marshall fight since Shield had the fight, when she went over and saw how they're making money in the UK. They're printing money for boxing, especially women's boxing. So why wouldn't she go for that? She don't have to prove nothing to me, So I like to see that we can allow fighters to have this sort of leverage, and we have enough respect for what they're doing that, at least some of us with good sense,
I mean, because you got to think about it, right? So, I mean, I don't know much about any other sport, really. But my limited knowledge of basketball and football and baseball, these top teams that win the world championships and the World Series and all this type of stuff, they play lesser teams all season. They destroy lesser teams by 50 points. No one complains. They just talk about the highlights of the stars on the winning team. So why doesn't boxing get the ability to do the same thing? Like
Look,
you have a whole, was it the Harlem Globetrotters have been traveling for the last 200 years playing on a team that everybody knows will never win,
yeah.
right? But they're still selling out venues. So why not let boxers make money when they have the opportunity to make money? Because
And
we all know that their careers are short lived.
absolutely. And one of the perfect equivalents for those that watch basketball is, and I love Carmelo Anthony, but Carmelo Anthony would rather play on a team and get a max contract and be the man than take a pay
Mm-hmm.
cut and be on a team with some guys that might prefer to win a championship.
Exactly.
So you
But,
can't question what somebody's doing if that's what they figure out is what pays their bills. It's not up to
yep.
me, right? He still has the
Yep.
opportunity to be a scoring champion and to set accolades, and you respect it in the context of what that person chooses to do. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And it's still a fight. Like
yeah,
even if you're in your opinion it's a lesser known opponent or a lesser opponent, this individual is still training for 6, 8+ weeks. They're still making weight. They're still sparring. They're still the struggle and the requirement to win is still the same.
sure.
And at certain levels, even if you come in half-assed to a supposed unknown or opponent, you still have the opportunity to get put on your ass.
Absolutely.
Adrian Broner's first loss was to an opponent he was supposed to smoke. And Madonna put that on, flip that. So you always have in boxing, you always have the opportunity to not be successful based off of the other individual at that level is not coming to lose.
Well, let's get right to it. This weekend's action, man. You mentioned it earlier. One of these guys has to lose.
They
You
got to.
you don't think they'll do a draw, right?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. So
No,
what
I think Tank gonna put him to sleep.
uh-huh.
I think Tank gonna catch him. I'm not a Ryan Garcia fan. I don't even know why. He just never really clicked to me. Um, but I've been watching a lot of his fights, even back to the amateurs, him fighting Haney a bunch of times with other people. His pad work, his hook, he has a nice hook, but every time he throws that hook, he drops his right hand.
Yeah.
Every time. And it's almost like a prayer. He kind of closes his eyes and squints and turns his head out of it. If you look at Tank's last like 5 knockouts, they've all been by individuals who failed to put their hands up. Like Tank isn't beating people to the body and stopping them. He's catching them off of small mistakes.
Yeah.
And Garcia makes enough small mistakes that eventually, and what I hate, people like to compare Tank to Wilder. Tank
It's
has a
ridiculous.
20 times the skill that Wilder has.
Yes.
Like Wilder really only has a punch. Tank can move, it's just not necessary. Tank has good footwork, but it's not necessary. He has good hand speed. It's not necessary. He knows eventually he's going to catch you. And when he catches you, was it 98% chance that you're going to sleep?
Yeah, that's high.
Like, would you go out? Would you leave the house if you knew you had a 98% chance to get your ass beat? I would.
Definitely not.
So, just off of numbers, Ryan Garcia is probably going to be put down.
You already answered it for me because there's a lot of speculation going around about Ryan's hook, the left hook, the left hook, the left hook. But you know, um, you know, I don't see it landing flush enough. I could see it catching Tank and him kind of catching it and stumbling, and
Mm-hmm.
people go, "Whoa!" But
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it landing flush enough because he is kind of going to have to punch down. He does drop the right hand,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to leave himself fighting tall in too many spaces to where, um, if Tank make him think about protecting his body,
Mm-hmm.
and then he thinking about countering with a hook. I mean,
Yeah,
Ryan's spread eagle.
Tank's also built like a fire plug,
Yeah.
right? So just off of biology and the way that he's shaped, he's going to be able to take a lot more punishment. The angles that he's going to get hit with aren't going to be as drastic as these taller opponents. So he's kind of set up with his power to destroy Ryan Garcia.
And I just
I think everything's going to be positive. Everything on paper that's positive about Ryan Garcia is going to be a negative
in that fight, and I agree.
In that fight, yeah.
And I just envision, as you were saying, I envision Tank stab jab into the body and making Ryan think, and then just something bad happening, man. Like I'm excited for it, man. And you know the visibility of this one. My wife asked me about it. My 5-year-old asked me about it. He was like, Dad, and he's pronouncing the name, Dad, Gervonta Davis and Tank and Ryan Garcia. And so this is a big one, man.
My son Brad, he's over. I don't know if you can see him. He's over there working out. He's been on Instagram trolling Ryan Garcia for like the past week. So like you said, yeah, that's the rest of my family hiding.
Rude.
But yeah, so yeah, this is definitely a huge event. Like you said, everybody knows about it. It's crossing entertainment lines where it's not just the boxing people.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, celebrities. I mean, when you got Denzel Washington commenting on the fight, you golden.
Yeah, man. This
one
is visible, man. Couple things I want to mention before we get you out of here, man. There's a UK card. Sandy Ryan, who is 147 pounds. They're looking to line her up against Jessica McCaskill out of Chicago. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but I just want you to do your homework on those guys. Also, Sky Nicholson, who is a featherweight. In my mind, they're trying to set her up against Serrano way down the picture because Serrano's a bag chaser. I was talking to my guy the other day. Serrano's a bag chaser, and I agree she might not want to give it up right away, but to a young, cute little European girl, like it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, sporty spice look.
Serrano's a dog, so
she's a dog.
She always got a chance.
Always. And I'm not counting her out, but I'm just saying.
She always got a chance. I wouldn't want to fight her. She gonna be there the whole fight.
Yeah. Standing her ground in her Jordans.
Yeah, I wouldn't want nothing like that. Hey, mama.
Yeah, man. Listen, man. I want you to give the people your socials one more time before we get you out of here.
Gotcha. So my best way to get in touch with me is my Instagram. So that's that Nerdyboxing Trainer 84. Might be some offensive things on there, but I'm from Philly originally, so don't hold it against me. We're actually in a position in Virginia where the closest thing to us is DC or Richmond that is competitive. So anybody in the Virginia area, anybody in the DC area that wants some training, we travel. We're not just a gym that sit around. We travel the country. Holla at us. You know, we're looking for a heavyweight. So anybody with a heavyweight anywhere in our direction, come holla at us. I mean, if you want to judge us on our youngest fighters. We got a 7-year-old now. Just go watch videos on my page of him. We got my son, not because he's my son, because he wasn't shit, I tell the world. But he's one of the special ones. I'm just lucky. Not just him. Everybody that we train, but everyone is one. Like, so we got the only kid in the history of boxing that I know of with one eye.
Yeah.
Right. And with one eye, he's been on the top 10 list multiple times. He's come second in the nationals. You know, he's only been beat, convincingly by a kid that's going to be an Olympian.
Wow.
So yeah. So anywhere in the DMV area, if you guys looking for a gym that's more than the gym, I mean, we eat together, we travel together. We're friends, our kids hang together, the parents are all involved. Nerdyboxing is the spot. Like I said, we're not just a gym for boxing. Everything is, when it comes to these kids and the people we train, is to like the scientific level. We have individuals that specialize in nutrition. We have individuals that specialize in recovery. We have individuals that specialize in the history and the science of boxing. It really is a creation of a bunch of educated, both, what's the word? Look for actual education, like from actual schools. We all been to college, and we have people with master's degrees. Hopefully, I'll have mine in the next couple of years. We have individuals with all kind of certifications. We have individuals that specialize in sports management, everything, right? So we're on at the grassroots level of something that's one day going to be amazing. Is my goal to rival the Olympic Training Academy, and the reason is because these national tournaments and individuals that make it to Colorado, and once again, it's not hatred, but these are not the best fighters in the country. A lot of these kids are just the kids that had opportunities to get to these places. Like my son happens to be an individual that has a mother and a father and a stepmother and a stepfather that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So he can go to almost any tournament he wants to without restriction. No, it's plenty of kids in these inner city neighborhoods that can barely afford to be clothed or fed that will never make it to these tournaments that could be great fighters. So it's my goal to use Nerdyboxing to build a facility where we can bring these kids from across the country that don't have access to, the appropriate amount of food and the appropriate ability to make weight. How do you make weight when you can barely feed yourself? You know, they don't have the right equipment. They don't have the right leadership or the right motivations or the right mentorships. So it's my goal to have an all-inclusive academy, I guess, for the best fighters in the country. Not just the kids that can make it to these tournaments. Because if you look at the national rankings, for the most part, the top 15 kids are always the same 15 kids. I'll take that back. Out that top 15 that go to these tournaments, let's say 12 is a consistent, 10 to 12 are consistent. Then you always have like another 5 or 6 that just sprinkled in. But that's because these kids can afford to get to these tournaments. It cost me, between the money spent, $3 grand a tournament for my son, and then I miss about 2,500 from missing work for a week. So it's about 5,000 to 6,000 a tournament for my son to go to a tournament, which is ridiculous in a lot of ways, but it also makes boxing at this level not all inclusive. So it's my goal to help fix that with any, with I don't know, sponsorship or something. Still a work in progress, but my goal is to get kids that will never make it to nationals consistently. So we can give, these top 10s a run for their money. So.
Access,
exactly.
Right. And that's a beautiful mission. And I love the word academy because an academy, you create that foundation and you keep bringing them in and bringing them out, bringing them in and bringing them out. And then they take what you give them into the world, man. So for those that are tuning in, definitely make sure that you reach out if you're in the DMV area. If you want to bring your kids, if you want to go, you got any sponsorships, ideas, please reach out on IG to me, but definitely reach out to my guy, Mr. Brian Mabry, that Nerdyboxing trainer 84. And this is the championship rounds, man. Listen, thank you for making the time, man. This was a pleasure. This was good.
No,
this was so much fun, man.
Listen, look, I appreciate it. Like I said, we're at the YMCA now. That's what I mean by the difference in the things, the abilities, and the things that certain kids are afforded to. My son's shadow boxing on a racquetball court in suburban Virginia.
Yeah.
I'm trying to offer that to the nation. I wasn't shadow boxing in a racquetball court when I was in West Philly.
You was never in no.
No, I can't. Yeah, absolutely not. So that's all it is.
Nah, it's beautiful, man. And that's all it is, but it's beautiful what you're doing and keep doing it, man. Thank you for joining me.
I appreciate it.
This the championship.
And once again, real quick, it's not all me.
Of course not.
They got my man Junior. You got his wife. You got my wife. She traveled to Detroit with me. All craziness. We got Mac. We have his name. We call him Big J. We got Carlos. We got everybody. This is a big community. I'm normally not the speaker. I hate speaking to people, but here it is.
No, we appreciate it. And then the next, we're gonna link up again. You got Junior. Junior was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Junior and Mac, that's the 1-2 punch.
Yeah, yeah,
Junior was
yep, I
leading out
got you.
there. Mac was just finishing shit. So
Yep,
I
I
gotta
got
have
you.
them guys back. And then
Whenever you want, I'll set them up.
and Carlos was on the time before. Remember the first time when you guys were
Yeah.
traveling, but we got to get him back on.
Carlos is me. Like I said, I'm not really into the new boxing because it's so political. So I consider myself like a historian. Like my favorite fighter is Sugar Robinson, Alexis Arguello, Aaron Pryor, people like that. But Carlos knows about everything that's going on now. So yeah, like I said, he's the best when it comes to that.
Let's do it. We're gonna set that one up, man. Listen,
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. We out of here.
Yes,
Championship
sir.
rounds.
Appreciate it.
Salute, brother.
All right, brother. Get your gloves on.